All right, let's get into the 12 elements. It's like the 12 days of Christmas, okay? So number one, always starts with people. Everything, like Joseph said earlier. Joseph, what do you got? You got a copy, okay? You got a copy of my show notes here. People first in relationships are mandatory. That was Joseph's note from earlier in the show, and you nailed it, buddy. People first, always, period. So second is clarity, knowing your unique proposition, what separates you from everyone else. First is the people. Acquisition, which is hiring them, and then onboarding them, and then retaining them. That results in positive company culture. And positive company culture is created. It's not anything. It's a result. Positive company culture cannot be produced. It has to be a result. And it's the result of employee acquisition, onboarding, and retention. When you do these things right from the get-go, when you give your employees a DISC assessment, for example, and you teach people how to speak to each other, that goes to retention, and also goes to acquisition and onboarding when you bring the right people on board. So let's say you got the right employees, you got some people that are having some issues, and you get that straightened out with a DISC assessment, and now you're retaining them. Well, you will have positive company culture. That's it. Now you got happy people. Without happy people, nothing else on this list matters. Zero, end it, game over. Nothing else matters. Number two is clarity. You've got to know your proposition, what separates you. Here's what you got to know. Number one, you got to know your principles. What are the company's principles? Principles never change. Principles are your go-to default when you are having problems. So number two is clarity of principles, clarity of values. Values can change over time. If you get values, you got 3 or 4 values, and innovation can change values, different technology can change values, growing can change your values, right? Bringing in different people in leadership positions can change your values. And so if it makes sense, you can readdress values and change them over time. You don't want to do that every week, but over time you can change your values, but you can never change your principles. That has got to be rock solid. Okay. So let me get here. Joseph here. Positive company culture must be a result of diverse inclusion, inclusive of the company hiring process 10-4. And also he says, along with whatever assessments they choose to perform. That's exactly right. Some assessments are better than others for certain issues, right? I'm a DISC guy. Joseph put in there what you do. I forget the name of it. I always forget that one. But there's predictive indexer. There's, what is that other one? Hartfield and McCoy's or something. I don't know. There's a bunch of them out there. But definitely, getting your people in the right spots, no matter what you do, is got to be number one. Clarity, knowing what your values, knowing what separates you from everyone else, and knowing who you are in that in who you're serving. Right. So having clarity, crystal clear visions of who your ideal customer is. So Christy, a recession means you've got to be even more clear on who your client is. And if your client is somebody that's going to be hit by recession, then maybe you got to change your client. Marketing, let's go to number 3. So people first, clarity second, marketing is third, getting your message out, having your strategies and your tactics right, and then learning what the conversion equation is. Y'all know that. If you watch this show, we talked about it a lot. Number 4, communication. How do you talk to the customer, the client, the prospects? Do you talk to them? Do you understand what the buyer's journey is? Do you have an inside reality that's different from the outside perception? That all comes from your communication to the world. So right there, bam. Number 5, leads. You need quality leads, narrowing the pool of your prospects. By narrowing that pool, by getting a smaller. So Christy, if you're coming up to a recession and you can't afford, everything's got to get tighter. Your perspective has to get tight in a recession. Everything has to matter. You have to do more with less. So get a smaller pool of more qualified leads. And it leads right into sales. Selling is serving. I've been told this by 3 different people in 3 different groups. I know everyone listens and everyone cannibalizes each other. I get it, but it's really it's resonating. Selling, the word sales is a Scandinavian-based word called that's based in serving. So when you're selling becomes serving, and you have a value-based buyer who knows, likes you, and trusts you, you will now be dealing with a person who is looking for a vendor selection in vendor selection mode instead of a buyer in price mode, okay? Because of your communication, because your drip campaigns have already taken care of their objections. They've built your values. They've overcome everything that they didn't understand in your marketing. All of this builds up to building a sales system that is based on value-based buyers, okay? That leads into then, when you have all of this ready, you then can build. I think 7 and 8 need to be reversed, right? Even 8, I think 8 needs to come down a few notches here, and 8 and 9 need to come up. So I'm glad we're going through this. But 8, or 7, excuse me, is building alliances and joint ventures. What this is, building a power team of referrals, right? Endless referrals for Bob Berg, and non-stop, very, very valuable introductions. That comes from alliances and joint ventures. People who are dealing with the client before you and after you, who can tell other people about you, or your alliances. Your joint ventures are for people who you can tell about their business, and you can make some money off of that. And that leads into over here, the back end options, having additional products and services to offer, downselling, upselling, cross-selling, and bundling. All right, these are your back end options. Having a place for everyone. Meet the clients where they are. Have something ready for everybody you talk to. Okay, and then it goes back to communications to follow up with people who say no with other deals. Pricing, increasing and decreasing your prices based on demand, based on supply and demand, the rules, the number one rule of commerce, but also on situations like a recession. Okay, you might need to increase your prices during a recession. You might need to decrease your prices during a recession. It depends. Always depends. One of my clients, Superior Lawn, we had to increase the hell out of our prices because the gas rates were so high, right? And we lost 3 customers out of 250. And we totally, broke back to even, but we stopped losing money. We were hemorrhaging for a long time before we went, man, let's increase our prices. That's an easy fix, right? 10, knowing your numbers. This is an element that a lot of people don't get, man. This is so important. All these are so important, especially in concert. You do them all at the same time. Knowing your numbers, knowing your cash flow, knowing your balance sheet, knowing your close to life, your ratio for lifetime for closing, and knowing your lifetime values at every given point. A lot of people get this one wrong. Lifetime values, they just go, okay, they take a client and say, how much money do they make over a lifetime? Well, that changes at any given point in time. Depends how long you keep a customer for, and knowing break-even points. Now, what's really important on the know your numbers is having your employees, every single position, your employees need to know the numbers that they impact, so that they know that their particular actions are impacting another department by their, by the numbers, right? So getting, just like every single employee needs to know your principles, every single employee needs to know your values, and every single employee, no matter what position they're in, need to know the impact that their actions have on A, the bottom line, and B, the departments left and right of them. Okay. 11, continuous training. Always getting 1% better. We're reading Atomic Habits right now, 1% better every day. It makes you 37.6 times better after 1 year by getting 1% better over 365 days. And if anyone can explain that math to me, I'd love to hear it, because I've tried it a few times. I'm really good at math, but I can't get my head around it, because 10% would be 37.6 of 365. And we're talking about 1% a day. And I'm not getting it, but I believe it, right? I believe it. I'm putting it into action this year. We're having a mastermind with our family with Atomic Habits, and the kids are reading it. So continuous learning, yep, mandatory. Joseph, very much so, very much so. But you'd be surprised when you're the operator of the company, especially when you're a solopreneur, and you just go, I don't got time for making better choices. I don't have time to get a coach. I don't have time to go take a class. Well, then you're going to have a lot of time on your hands because you're going to be bankrupt like I was. Okay. And number 12, big finish. Number 12 is what we're going to be talking about: return on investment, not return on, return on relationships, not ROI, not return on investment, return on relationships, returning, networking, having a go-giver mentality, community building, making these relationships. This is number 12. Thanks for watching that video segment. If you enjoyed it and like to see more content just like that one, click over here. If you'd like to see that video in its entirety, click over here. Thank you.